Hello and welcome again. This is our second lecture in this e-learning course that is focused on the fifth reporting process. Today I'd like to speak to you about exactly what the reporting process is all about. I'd like to share something with you as regards what the CRIC is and how it does that, and I'd like to share with you as regards who are the reporting entities. Now, firstly, you must remember that the convention was signed in 1994. It came into effect in 1996. But since that, some time has elapsed, and therefore the process has changed. It has changed fundamentally in one way. At COP8 in 2007, the 10-year strategy was adopted. And also it has changed because we do have what is called a functioning CRIC. I will discuss all of that in a short while. However, what I want to say is this, that this convention, reporting is an essential part of the whole implementation process. If you don't report, in other words, if you don't take stock of what you're doing, then you can't know if you're doing anything and if you're doing it right. So reporting is fundamental if we are to understand the implementation process. And the convention makes that very, very clear. In its Article 22 and Article 26, you will see that the COP has the responsibility to review reports, okay? And counterparties have a responsibility to submit reports. Now, the COP is the general body. It's the whole big thing. It's the know-all or the all-powerful part of this process. So it needs bodies to assist it in the process. One of those is the CRIC. The CRIC just stands for the Committee for the Review of the Implementation of the Convention. And the CRIC was actually decided at COP5. However, a true functioning CRIC only came into place a little later. We will get to that in a short while. So I was talking about the convention and saying what the convention says as regards reporting. But as I've said before, that was in 1996. We are now 2014 and the process has changed. And the fundamental change came in 2007 at COP8 when we adopted the 10-year strategy. Now the 10-year strategy is really important here, really fundamental. The reason why it is because the 10-year strategy clearly gives objectives, strategic objectives and operational objectives. Okay, there are 4 strategic objectives, and 5 operational objectives. And based on those objectives, which have got to be achieved by 2018, we then had to find a way of measuring what we are doing over those period. And so apart from just having objectives, the objectives give birth to what are called indicators. In other words, things or tools that we use to measure how far we are going and how quick we are going, how successful we are in the implementation process. So outside of the objectives, you then have indicators. Now as regards this reporting process, which is what is important to us, you are supposed to report in accordance with 18 indicators. Now, but only 14 really applies to the developing country parties, which I shall get to in a short while. However, what is important for you to understand is that the reporting is done using these indicators, and the reporting is done geared at achieving those objectives. Now, remember I said that there is strategic objectives and there are operational objectives. Now, this reporting process is focused on the operational objectives. Let us get that clear. So we are not concerned with this reporting process with the strategic objective. No, that will come later. That will come in 2016, right? Now, we're dealing with the operational objectives. And in measuring the achievement of those, the indicators that are used are called performance indicators. And as I've said before, there are 18 of these. Now, so we know that the reporting is being done in accordance or in relation to the implementation of the 10-year strategy. Now, when you look at that strategy, you would see that it has defined many things. First, it has defined who are the reporting entities. It has defined how they should report. But more than that, it has designed a process, a reporting process. And the central element of that reporting process, the central body of that is what we call the CRIC. Now, the CRIC meets and the reports are submitted and the crick review them. After doing that, the crick then makes, or I shouldn't say make, the crick then suggests to the COP what should be done to further the process. In other words, what comes out of the crick is what is called draft decisions. And these draft decisions are therefore then considered by the COP, and the COP decides. Now, this crick reporting process, if you look at it carefully, you will see that there are different types of reports and different type of reporting entities. Now, firstly, you have what are called the national reports. And the national reports come, as their name suggests, from the nations, from the country parties. But outside of the national reports, you have reporting at other levels. So you have sub-regional reports and you have regional reports. As the name also suggests, this tells you the level at which these reports are done. Now, the difference between sub-regional reports and regional reports and national reports is fundamental. Fundamental in the sense that a national report comes from a country, one country. A sub-regional report is a report from an entire sub-region. And a regional report is a report from an entire region. Therefore, the reporting entities are different here. The national report is done by a country, the sub-regional report is usually done by a sub-regional organization, and so the regional report as well is done by a regional organization. So these are different levels of reporting, and therefore you have different entities doing it. Okay, so we have discussed a little bit about the reporting, and we have discussed why it has changed based on the 10-year strategy. And we have discussed how it is being done in terms of indicators. But okay, it's fine to have your objectives, it's fine to have your indicators, it's fine to have your reporting entity. But in order for the reports to be done properly and for the CRIC to be able to review these reports, there must be certain standards, certain rules that must be followed. And here now we come to what is called the manual. A reporting manual has been prepared and designed, and you are supposed to follow that manual when doing your report. If you don't follow the manual, of course, then there is no standard guide which everyone should use, and it will make it very difficult for the CRIC to do the report. But outside of the manual, to do a concrete report, okay, you need concrete information. And for this to happen, so that the information in one way or the other is the same, not in terms of numbers or not in terms of quantity, but in terms of the subject that it is focused on, we need to be able to have all the countries reporting on these same things. Now, this is why the report is what is called template-based report. In other words, what happens is this: apart from the manual, you have a template. And that template is the same for every country. And that template requires that you put certain information into that template. And the template is the same for all the countries. So the point here is this, that apart from the manual, the reporting process is governed or guided by these templates. I will discuss them a little bit more in the future. But what is important here and now to understand is this, that these templates, while they're the same for all countries, it doesn't mean that all the templates apply to a particular country. I said before that there are 18 indicators. Now, as regards the developing country parties, the affected developing country parties, only 14 apply to them. For institutions like the Secretariat and so on, okay, another set of numbers apply here. All 18 will apply. And for the GEF, etc. So the point here is this, that you have to be able to differentiate between what you should be reporting on, and don't touch those things that don't concern you. Now, also, you need to know that the reporting is going to be done not in the past, like in the past where you printed a hard copy and you post that to the Secretariat. No, actually it's an online reporting process. And you will be able to fill out these templates online, store them, And then when we put the process in place, you will just submit them electronically. In other words, the point here is this: the process of actually doing the report is an electronic process. Finally, I'd like to say that we at the Secretariat and the entire capacity building team, we don't only provide you with this lecture, but we provide you with all the reading materials. So when you go to this section of the course, you will see all the reading materials there that you would need to use. Finally, always remember that we at the Capacity Building Marketplace are here, ready and willing to assist you in any shape or form that you might so need. Thank you very much, and see you at the next lecture.